Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. Welcome. The topic of this video is going to be what's happening with the Dinar slash Dong Zimbabwe RV. I want to give my weigh in. But first, as usual, before we get started, this video is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. This video is not to be construed as legal advice. This is not financial advice or securities advice or anything of that like, not tax, legal, or financial. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for anyone's misuse of the information. Please keep in mind, everyone is responsible for their own commercial affairs. With that being said, all rights are reserved. Now, I know it's been a while, guys. I don't really talk about this topic anymore, but I wanted to kind of give my way in, what I found out a little bit about recently. Just keep in mind, if you're still looking for updates in regards to that, you can check out. It's been a while since I've looked at this site, DinarRecaps.com. I should have taken a look at it. You had Dinar Detectives. I think DinarGuru.com might be still around. You can get updates. Of course, there's few people out there you've heard of on YouTube. I think Mark Z still out there. There's TC, Currency 365's other channel. Someone asked me, it's called Eyes Wide Shut. I don't know what happened, if his other channel was still around, or if he set it to private, or what's going on. But I think when I saw one of his last videos, I checked and I couldn't find his other channel where he had shared some of my previous videos. Then I was assuming that he could have possibly been censored by YouTube, or he may have set it to private. I'm not sure exactly, but I knew about his backup, his other channel, Eyes Wide Shut. So just keep in mind, you have these other websites, YouTube channels, and resources to do research if you're curious about what's really going on out there. You still, I believe, have TNT Tony. You can check out from Twitter, TNT superfantastic.com, if that's still around. I'm not sure exactly. It's been a while since I've checked Intel. I think it's been a while since Fleming has put out information. Nick Fleming, that's the guy. Some people asked me a while ago the videos that I shared, in case you're wondering, where he was talking about the RV. And I myself don't profess to be a guru, by the way. I'm not a guru. I'm just an intel provider, someone who I do have private sources from years ago. I shared what was relayed to me, and I compared notes. I also research and investigate. I do investigative research, and I compared notes to what was being shared by these different sites. And I've actually seen some things manifest. Actually, a couple things I've matched up. I've told some of you guys the stories in the past, even some things that these other platforms may not have mentioned, like my experience at the bank when I saw the teller flipping through a foreign currency exchange book at the time, when her boss came over and ushered her away and said, "We don't deal with the dinar." But I actually saw the teller, bank teller at the time, when I was behind the bulletproof clear screen. She was flipping through the pages, and I could clearly see images of the dong and the dinar. I've told that story numerous times in previous videos. So that's just to validate for those who are wondering. We confirmed Chase Bank used to sell it at one time. I do know they sold dong at one time for a fact. There's receipts to back that up. By the way, this has been verified and validated specifically in terms of the receipts. And then I have credible sources out there that even told me Fifth Third Bank years ago sold dinar. So let's get out of this thing that you have haters out there, people, non-believers, that say, this is not real. This is never going to happen. What I will say this, I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. I always give like a prognosis or assessment, and I try to translate the information for you all to be able to interpret. And I've talked to numerous other people out there, and they get what I'm saying, but you always have those people out there. So the reason I bring the bank stories up is to show credibility that these are major institutions that are members under the Federal Reserve or members of the FDIC, insured, that actually sell foreign currency or have sold it at one time. And because it was never meant for, I heard one of my sources told me not too long ago, for masses and the general public to find out. I actually covered this some years ago, because I think TNT Tony used to try to translate this for his audience, by the way, that the way the internet was at one time, it wasn't like it is today. When people started to find out about this, and you remember years ago when things started to go viral, it has a different effect than it does necessarily today. Today, there's more people have access to smartphones, have more access to the internet, stuff like that. So my private source told me it was only meant for a certain handful of people that were insiders in the know at the time, by the way. And if you're wondering, in that Middle Eastern part of the world, the Kuwaiti dollar revalued years ago or back in the 90s at one time. So that's why we know this is taking a real long time for the dinar to RV, and it should not be contingent upon what's going on or what's happening in their country or whatever. But what I do understand, what I was told behind the scenes, allegedly the U.S. Treasury has some things to do, and they're trying to time it where they want everything to happen at once with this tied in with this particular reset. But I got some new information, and I wanted to give my opinion about it, that this wasn't part of the original plan. Throughout the years, they've changed things. Of course, I went over that before. They've added new things that were not included. And I've always known years ago they had a tier system, and that tier system is still in effect. The internet group is known as Tier 4B. By the way, I remember there was this distinction that came out some years ago. That was like an update that was given. You had Tier 4, but then they broke it up and made what they call the internet group a part of the public to be on Tier 4B. Now, Tier 3 is like that encompasses, I believe, some large groups that may have gotten access where they can only maybe access a certain amount. VIP people. There was a story about someone out there that was famous. I don't know who they were. They were allowed to exchange in the middle of the night. The rate was temporarily changed. But I've also heard that some that have been able to exchange in advance, either their accounts were in a frozen state, or they were only able to access a certain amount until this goes fully public. That's where you would hear the term years ago where TNT Tony would say a shotgun start, what they were referring to, but not technically of some people out there. But of course, those people, including VIP people that were allowed to exchange in advance, or people who receive safekeeping receipts, by the way, may have been under non-disclosure agreements or under NDAs, more likely than not. Those people were probably under NDAs. And I hear Tier 2, to give you guys an example, just going over the tier system, that dealt with governments around the world that were invested as well, Tier 2. And I forget. So that's kind of to give you an idea. But we're, as far as the general public or the internet, the people in the know are like tier 4B. And I hear what they've changed is that allegedly, if you are a certain age, if you're 61 years old and older, you're going to be able to get access to your full amount of funding. Now, they do know a lot of people hold multiple foreign currencies. I've heard specifically, allegedly, now this is alleged, I don't know, this is what was kind of relayed out there, that people who hold Zimbabwe, they were going to tie the payout in with over a period of time. But I heard that the older people within a certain age group would be able to allegedly access majority of their funds. But for everyone else that is part of like a younger age group from about 40 to 60, they would have to sign an NDA, and they would, what I was informed, allegedly, you would have to agree that you would work for 10 years, by the way. Now, I can't say that includes, because some people hold not just the Zim, but other notes, the other currencies, because the Zim is supposed to be different. By the way, for there's some people that don't believe in the Zim, by the way. I won't get into that, but the Zim is separate, but they want to know if the 800 numbers call out that you're supposed to mention that you hold Zim bonds, because they're actually bonds. If you actually read the notes and you looked at the notes themselves, and clearly, I'm not going to go over it. And I've also done my own research. I didn't really used to go over this or reveal this, but I have gone over it in the past. If you sometimes I put a little bit of trinkets in different videos. There is a foreign currency book that I found because I was listening to TNT Tony some years ago, just because I would do my research. And this has been validated. So I can say this part is verified. I did my own homework, and I'm sharing this with you all to translate back to you all. And he mentioned he would go in, and from what I understand, he was in California at the time. I don't know where he lives at allegedly, or he's out west. And he would go in Wells Fargo or Chase Bank, I think it was. I can't remember specifically. And he would ask for the currency book. Now, some banks or institutions may not allow you to have access to this. So when he mentioned this, I said, I wonder if there's a PDF version of this online. Sure enough, it was. And I found a particular copy. I had to go way back on one of my backup hard drives, because some years ago when I started doing consultations at one time, I haven't had any as of lately. I had someone that inquired, I brought this up to, but at the time I couldn't remember which particular backup drive because it had been so long. But I did find the ebook or PDF file again, and it went over all the foreign currencies worldwide, over the entire world. So it looked just like, because he would go over this sometimes, and other intel providers out there, that you want to make sure that you purchase the correct currency. So when I looked through the book that was supposed to substantiate or validate that if you had the correct currency or not, it matched up with what it was supposed to look like specifically, just to kind of give you guys an idea. And it let me know, or let someone know who may be skeptical out there, is this real or not? This was actually in a validated book. And by the way, there's I won't go into the details, but there's alphabet agencies. It was mentioned years ago, listen to these calls even till this day. They also, a particular government agency, I won't say the name, you can kind of guess, some of you all may know, actually does investigations and stuff like this. So they have to validate particular currencies, not just foreign currency, but currencies worldwide have security features on them, by the way. So when I did my research to determine whether or not this was real, like I told the story of the bank, I actually witnessed this with my own eyes. I saw a bank teller at the time when they weren't allowed, I guess, or they were told to keep it hush. But then years later, I heard they were told they had to stop doing that at one time. But I hear that a lot of the branch managers or whatever, the ones that are in the know, are currently under NDAs. But there was a phase that we've gone throughout the years for those that have been keeping up with the information. And I remember the teller was, when I saw her flipping through the pages, I could see the notes that I had already looked just like the ones in the currency book she was flipping through. And then I saw her looking at the dong, and she was looking pretty amazed, like she didn't really know. But then I saw her, I guess her supervisors, or managers come over, and, they're in charge. You have a tier, what can I say, a pecking order within the bank, just like you have a boss. And I guess they were instructed at the time to keep this low key or whatever reason. And they took the book away, and the teller said to me, and I've told this story numerous times before, she said, "We don't deal with the dinar," in a very aggressive manner. But I had already saw the evidence, so the cat was out the bag. So I just tell this story to reiterate, I've done my research. This is from my eyewitness testimony, my personal testimony, by the way. I also researched what TNT Tony used to share about the currency booklet. I researched that, found a PDF file, credible book on world currencies. I also had another private source that told me when a particular VIP person was exchanged in the middle of the night some years ago, that they temporarily raised the rate because a pastor that he knew, who I had actually met at one time some years ago, I believe it was at a coin show, from what he described the individual. I don't know the pastor's name, but he said he was on Forex one night and saw how they had temporarily changed it to where it was actually reflecting a much higher rate than it was just during this time period. You know how cryptocurrencies, if you're familiar with, they can have a flash crash all of a sudden and just crash the amount where you would be able to buy in dirt cheap and sell back high if you knew what you were doing. Well, in this instance, they had temporarily raised it to like whatever it was. And this source that I have said his friend saw it. This happened temporarily. Then it went back to the old rate where it was less pennies to a dollar or whatever. So I had a source that mentioned that. And then this same source has another friend, I won't go into the details, who has a relative or cousin that's in the New York area or New Jersey area. I'm not sure which in particular, but I know New York is like another banking capital because all international wires have to go through New York. I've known this for years. before they go overseas. They has to go through New York. So they had a relative that worked at an institution. She asked her manager, someone higher up, could you look into this? And she was close to this guy. So I guess he had higher credentials, higher privileges, just like bosses or managers. They may be able to access more information or access the vault or the back screen. So he looked into it for her. And what was relayed, he came back and told her, say, hey, this rate was high. He said, if you do have that, I wouldn't sell that if I were you. I would make sure that I continue to hold on to that, by the way. And that's what basically a story was relayed back to me. So, but the thing about the intel recently, so I heard from listening to a particular intel provider that's been around for well over a decade, and I appreciate the information he's put out there. If you know about I'll just say the Big Call universe, I won't say the name associated, and I haven't registered. I'm thinking about, because he mentioned for Zim holders out there that you need to maybe register, because I don't know of anyone else talking about for those out there that hold Zim would know how to get access appropriately once things happen, which we've been waiting for a very long time. Well, official word, I guess, goes through. Well, he was stating once again, there's a tier system, and that people who are like 60 and older. Now, I don't know if that applied to Zim holders or if that was just, I don't remember. I do recall from listening to the calls in the past, he went over it in the past. And one of his audios recently where he covered this in the intel, the part I had a question about was does this apply to Zim holders? But what I do remember from the past, from listening to his calls, that Zim holders, they wanted to use the funding over time so the banks could make money as well, or draw interest, where you would basically be rewarded, but they would receive a cut, but it would be over a period of time, by the way. So he said recently, those who are in a higher age group from 60 on up, I think, or 61 on up, they will be able to access their currency right away, or they would have access to a greater amount. But those between the age around 40 to 60 would be made to sign an NDA as well, and would have to sign. Part of this agreement was they're saying you would have to work for 10 years. Now that part I didn't really understand. I may not, because there's a lot of calls I miss. Every now and then I will go back to his website, but I wouldn't check it like every week. It's periodically, once in every blue moon throughout the years, I would go back, and I just recently checked several of his calls, and I'm like, dang, I didn't really agree with that. I didn't like that. But the people in charge of this, I guess, behind the curtain, behind the scenes, it's interesting. It seems like how they're trying to blackmail people, because I noticed during the pandemic, a lot of people quit their jobs. They lost. A lot of people died from the you-know-what. Plus, I always heard years ago, a lot of the baby boomers retired. So they needed people to replace these jobs. But I said, why in the world? It seems like to me they're blackmailing people, putting people in a catch-22 to say you're going to have to work in order to access this funding. That isn't what we originally signed up for. When I researched the global currency reset years ago, not to be confused with the evil cabal's great reset, but it was supposed to be set up in a way where it was supposed to give people financial freedom, or the ability to obtain financial freedom. And it's totally, they've double crossed us. Even certain private humanitarian programs or projects have double crossed the people. And I'm just giving this is my separate opinion from this. This is totally diabolical. This is evil. This is wicked. Whoever's behind that, I don't personally agree with that. That's deceitful. That isn't when I've been keeping up with the information years ago, that's not what this was about. This was meant to help people. That's what the prosperity programs were about. And it was, and they should not have, whoever made the decision, I don't know. I know it's people behind the curtain, but whoever made the decision to stall this out, because they felt it was a certain demographic of people that would squander the funds or wouldn't know what to do with it, that wouldn't apply to everyone. So why would you lump everybody into one single category and basically blackmail all the other people who would be responsible to have to wait for this? You would blackmail them into waiting all these years just for this to happen. And a lot of people have died. because of course they say, well, this isn't contingent upon whether you're alive or not, because they want to tie this in with your social security number and use, if you know about that, that's why one of my sources said allegedly he thinks, and I suspect this as well, that too many people are exiting the matrix. I'm a kind of speaking code for those who know about the redemption education or related to sovereignty. There's too many that are leaving, so they're trying to keep the slaves or as many as possible within this system, corrupt, fraudulent system where they're committing securities fraud, by the way, and force you to be a slave and trapped forever and not legitimately be able to obtain financial wealth for those who knew about this in advance. That is just totally deceitful, in my opinion. Just giving my way in. And I've been following this well over 10 years. Excuse me. I've been knowing about the dinar since 2006, by the way. But it wasn't until 2011 that I officially purchased some. I sold back the majority of that particular. I mentioned there's other foreign currencies I hold, but I sold the majority some years ago when I got tired of waiting for this to happen. So I don't have as many dinars as I used to. By the way, from years ago, I sold back a significant portion. I reinvested it in something else. By the way, I won't say, but because I took a hit from it. I took like a maybe 20% hit, because a lot of people don't know. Let's say if you just were tired of holding it, you could just sell, because there were brick and mortar locations that sold it. You could literally take it back to, you didn't have to, or internet providers, official internet sites that you purchased it from. I know one site in particular that will buy it back, even if you purchased it from someone else. There's rules or guidelines you have to go through that are officially registered and stuff like that. So I always knew you had the ability to sell it back. That's another proof or indication it isn't necessarily fraud, but you always had the ability, and the rates would fluctuate in a smaller amount, similar to how cryptocurrencies fluctuate. If you let's say you buy into a coin at 10 cents, but it drops down to 8 cents, then you took a loss. Your goal is to try to sell, maybe if it hits 80 cents and you made 8 times, or if it went up to $1 or $1.10, then you did like a 10x. But if it dropped down to like 8 cents and you bought in at 10 cents, then you took a loss. So I always knew you could always buy the dinar back. That may not have been mentioned. A lot of people that were into this didn't know about that. But I learned from a coworker years ago that told me, he was the first person I knew that told me he was tired of waiting, and he sold his back at the time. And I said, hey, I didn't even know you could sell it back. But we had bought ours at actual foreign currency exchange place, a brick and mortar location that told me they stopped selling the dinar in Birmingham, Michigan. It was one of 2 foreign currency exchange locations. The other one I don't know about. I haven't been to in years. I actually remember the lady's name who was working there. I won't say her name, but the other place, when I called them some years back, they told me they stopped selling it in around August of 2014. But I would see people go up there all the time, and they would buy euros or other foreign currencies. Very similar, just like people invest in stocks and cryptocurrency. This is a form of paper assets, by the way, similar to that. So that's why I give the examples that I do, so I can translate it, so those out there that don't understand can get a better synopsis of the information. So before I shoot on out of here, I'm going to acknowledge you guys in the comment section, by the way. But I just wanted to give you guys that update, let you guys know what my thoughts, what my opinion was about this whole reset thing. Trip D says, what up, bro? Appreciate you joining. Lynn Hopper says, evening, sir. Appreciate you for joining. Fabulous Girl XRP says, hello. Appreciate you. Lynn Hopper says, evening, sir. Appreciate you, Lynn. Thank you for joining. G Grant says, I made my first purchase of Dong from Chase. Awesome, awesome. Yup, I can confirm, by the way. There's receipts to back that up. Bianca Lagardo says, hey, hi, Dorsey, favor upon you. Appreciate you. Thank you for all the favor. I need the favor, all the prayers and favor I can get. Appreciate you. Darren Jackson says, hey there, Mr. Dorsey. Sometimes I wonder if it will ever happen. Yes, likewise. Same here. We've been waiting on this years and years, obviously, but I just felt and compelled. I needed to give you guys the latest, what I had, been hearing out there, and I hadn't been keeping up as much because I put it on the back burner years ago. I couldn't, a lot of people, certain people I talked to said the same thing. Uh, you just forget about it, and when it happens, because it's nothing we can really do. But it just appears that someone very evil up top has been stalling this for years. Because I always used to hear Tony. I wish he would be able to reveal. And Dave Smith or others out there who allegedly mentioned they knew who was holding this up. By the way, they could reveal who they were. By the way, because these people, they have access to their wealth already. And this still was only a handful of people that still, compared to the whole general population that knew about something like this. It's just, to me, it's just not right. They should have allowed this to happen a long time ago. Well, hold on, guys. Okay, I'm back. But like I was saying, that I just wish, like I knew, whoever this was, because this has been dragged out well over a decade, too long. Even a friend of mine said it's taken a country a very long time to revalue. It's utterly ridiculous, and I don't agree. Like I said, once again, they're saying one of their reasons for holding this up or stalling it is they were saying people wouldn't, when they would, I guess, plan a financial crash or collapse of the currency, that people would end up losing it. So they just felt it would be better once they crash everything to allow it to happen all at once. But there's people who would be responsible and would know what to do with the information. Why are you going to punish everybody else? And that's very similar to this humanitarian program, which was a private clandestine operation that I was a member of years ago, I told you guys about, called the Pastor Tony King Conference, or that stood for PTK, or Kingship Manna Coalition was the new name. And they had a rule in place at first originally, and I've heard they re-implemented this rule, even though I'm no longer a member. I was told I was kicked out, but I'm saying to them, because they still have spies and ops out there that listen to me or watch my calls, watch my videos, because they were trying to have me. Of course, they could have been responsible for having my other channel shut down, but they I violated the terms of the non-disclosure, the original non-disclosure agreement I signed, by him lying, Anthony Fisher, giving an ironclad guarantee, because they're still holding my private documents, my social security card, my birth certificate, my depository trust and clearing corporation eligibility questionnaire form, my wizard payment form, my form against acceptance, my QSIP form. They're still holding that. And I don't know exactly. It's like he was trying to pass the responsibility and say, hey, it's a guy named Gary Colombo that is holding your paperwork. But I need to know, why haven't anybody reached out to me? And I never went to the FBI or contacted Homeland Security. I never contacted the U.S. Marshal Service yet. But I heard some people did contact these entities and filed complaints. Found out some years ago there was a complaint filed in 2009 when I had a friend of mine do some investigative research. But very similarly, they had they said if one person messed up, everybody else would get punished. Rules at the time, during the time period before I decided to go public. But why is it if one person messes up, you punish everybody else? And these people have access to their wealth already. So I want you to understand and know these people are very evil. Whether some call them the good cabal or evil cabal, the good cabal can be cut from the same cloth. It's real cynical. It's diabolical. You didn't have to lie to us like that, Anthony Fisher. That's his real government name. You didn't have to lie repeatedly, numerous times. And he tries to say, I don't trust you because you violated the non-disclosure agreement, but you gave an ironclad guarantee to not just myself, but all the family members at one time, that And there was someone had mentioned to me, they heard you mention, Anthony Fisher, that you were going to fund me with the black card, which you never came through. And it's a lot of members, by the way, that received that were part of the 2009 group, the original 2009 group. So yeah, I put it out there because I never received, and you promised from the Orlando event that we were going to get our package back. But then it turned into, oh, we don't have it anymore. I don't have it anymore. This guy named Gary Colombo has it. To put the responsibility on him. No, you were responsible, Anthony Fisher. So I don't know if it's your minions or whoever behind the curtain, because I was told people make excuses for you, but you're an elite. You had a responsibility on top of that. And the sad part, he's a fellow black man, a melanated man, just like myself. And I know if he looked out for a guy in Iowa, I hear these stories about, you could have did the same for the rest of your family members, that you gave an ironclad guarantee. You promised this would happen, and you did not deliver. And you never take responsibility for it. So I don't know if it's Steve Thomas, Gary Colombo, who's holding my paperwork, my package, but I never did go file a complaint with Homeland Security, the U.S. Marshal Service, or the FBI, as some people did, as I was informed. Allegedly, I know for sure some people did file a complaint with the FBI, and then my other source told me some people went to the U.S. Marshals, because I had a lady who was a member at the time that told me that some people got a knock on the door because I guess they filed a complaint. Then there's someone in the Ohio area. I got an anonymous email from someone, I don't know who sent it, that said they were going to file a complaint with the Attorney General in Ohio, by the way, because that's allegedly where you're located or wherever you're at. So that's what really happened. That's why I decided to go public, guys. That's why I put the videos out there and I exposed it to show you how evil, how wicked they are. And they're posing as though they're a Christian organization and that he's this wonderful, honest person, and always puts the blame or say it's on the other, or it's the evil cabal. They're at fault. No, to a degree, you had a responsibility. You lied on multiple occasions. And then I hear excuse that he's under a non-disclosure agreement himself by these higher ups behind the curtain. But if that's the case, you should have been forthcoming and been honest a long time ago, especially if you profess to be a Christian or a believer or a follower of Yeshua HaMashiach. If you really are a follower of Yeshua HaMashiach, to me, in my opinion, I feel as though you're working from the other side, because my father was a pastor or ordained minister, and my parents raised me with integrity. Not saying we are perfect. We're imperfect beings. We all fall short of the glory of God. But he came to redeem us, shed his blood, so that we may have life and have it more abundantly. But by your actions, there's a scripture that also talks about you will know them by the fruits that they bear. And some people, you can just fill in the rest. But I'm going to put on the whole armor of God so that no weapon formed against me shall prosper, because this was just diabolical, deceitful, and wicked. And this is what really happened, guys. So you fully understand. That's why I did on my newer channel, I did that video, how did I fall for their financial trap? I put the video on Rumble because I was honest. I took the videos down at first. When he resurfaced again, I tried to give you another chance to redeem yourself back in November of 2018, moving forward. And you came out, promised again, if you don't want to be part of this anymore, we're going to get you all funded. You'll be funded by January of 2019. Still didn't happen. And I said, wow. And I even kicked doors down to get somebody else to try to bring somebody else in. And they went through a hard time out there trying to get that person in. Because I felt it would be good for her to know. She was pretty new. I was part of the 2009 group, but I'm not saying the name, but I have other sources out there. But it's just, this is what really happened. And I'm telling my story to the world, and it is for what it is, but that's not right, man. That is not right. That's evil. And I take this personal, and they say that you were making it personal. Yeah, hell yeah, it's personal. Because if you were in my shoes, or anybody was in my shoes, you would feel this pain or frustration. Anybody would. Don't lie to me and say you wouldn't. You would not, because a lot of that is just cult tactics, just deceitful. Just it is for what it is. So I'm just got to be straight up. That's why I did those videos, in case you all are wondering about the black. I did have to go through a lot of things, meet the requirements to receive that. A lot, tremendously a lot. Waited for years, patiently, very, very patiently. Still nothing happened. So I've had to seek out other help from other sources. By the way, but it's good to know there are still some good people in the world who still have a good heart. A few left. It's not a lot, but these people at the top, just be it should be a warning as well. These people approach you, or you're already a member, or they want to take you to a whole nother level. Just be very skeptical still, because there may be strings attached to it. And that's pretty much it. And I just wanted to give my opinion, because all this is related, I found out, to this whole RV reset thing with the foreign currency and stuff like that. So I'm going to read the rest of these comments before I decide to shut this video down. And we're going to go from there. Jojo Wave says, peace, Dorsey. Appreciate you joining. Together We Are One says, greetings, John. Greetings to you. Wednesday Adams says, what did I miss? Question mark. Just have to go back and watch the video again. Wednesday says, remember Benny. Yeah, Benny Wilson, rest in peace too, which I did when I found out he passed away some years ago. He did reach out to me, and there was one time that I was trying to be more private and not as public, even though some people were letting me know, but I didn't have his contact information at the time, by the way. And I noticed a while back, Currency 365 used to share his videos as well. And I used to check Benny out. I like his perspective, because I look at different intel providers or gurus out there. They provide different perspectives. I don't expect everybody to have the same information or same sources. It's just, you're going to have different sources out there. Everybody's not going to be the same. So rest in peace to Benny. He put in a lot of work, and his work is much appreciated. Yes. Abe says prayers. Abe Adamu says much love. Jojo Wade says save and Bitcoin. Gigi Greatness says hello, Dorsey. How are you tonight? Good to see you. Good to see you as well, Gigi. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Adventures on the Road says heard Elon Musk is sending out 9K in Bitcoin. Yeah, I am hearing for you're on the verge of a big move coming. I don't know how big of a move, but I keep hearing we're on the verge of a big move coming, because this year is also the halving event. I hear coming approximately around April, or maybe the end of March or April is estimated when the halving event. And I always hear that every halving event, after so many years, sometimes it may take 90 days or certain time frame. For those out there who know how to read the charts, said there's always a big explosion in the price of Bitcoin, a big leapfrog, and the moving average, or the price chart. For those out there who know how to forecast the charts and stuff like that, when it comes to the graphs and the Fibonacci, the Wyckoff, when I watch different channels that know how to read the charts and stuff, phenomenal skill set. I wish I had learned that years ago, learn how to do that. They know how to read the candles up and down. That could determine when something's going to rise up or not. I watch those channels as well. I pay close attention to the ones out there that are free. Some people charge for that information, which I do understand. But there's channels, YouTube channels out there I discovered that give that information for free, and they're actually phenomenal with their predictions. Some of them I can kind of tell from just following the market are not as accurate as certain others. But there's one guy I follow like every morning. I'm literally every day he shows his thumbnail, shows a chart, and he's really good at what he does. He's phenomenal with his predictions, right on target. That's what I hear Bo Pony knows how to do with his service. But his service he provides, and he's also a biblical analyst of time, where he does something different, where he knows uh, and that's people in general, things, you know, like if coin test start in an upwards bullish trend, bull cycle, which we're in a bull market right now. Officially, we're in a bull market now. When it comes to crypto, if you know anything about the bear versus the bull market, we're currently in a bull market, and it's not too late from what I hear. But you want to hurry up because I follow Brian Jung's channel. He's another guy out there. It's phenomenal with the work that he puts out. It's another name I can throw out there that's really good at what he does. What's his name? The guy that does a lot of videos. I'm trying to remember his full name. I know his name is Matt. He goes by the name Matt. But he's really good. I'm subscribed to his channel as well. But Brian Jung did a video not too long ago, and he's out of the Maryland area, from what I understand. I got a cousin that lives down that way, and he says that in about a month, you're never going to see the same prices. So he did a video about which coins you can potentially, he thinks, forecast will be good buys for you to get into, to see very good large gains. Some of them, there's risk involved. As always, any investment, you shouldn't invest no more than what you can afford. And that's why I gave a disclaimer in the beginning of this video. This is not investment, financial, or legal advice. You know, so keep that in mind. But I'm subscribed to those channels to get a forecast, and I think Brian Jung's channel is phenomenal in what he does. And Matt, the guy that Matt talks a lot about Terra Luna Classic, Jasmine Coin, a lot of different coins out there. Grok, XRP. He's been on a XRP commentary a lot. Does a lot of videos, and he has very, very good commentary. Good at what he does. Can multitask. Is a member of different exchanges. He's shown his portfolios before, where some people don't like to do that. Like I myself, I'm not into that. But it's cool. Some of these other people I named, that's cool. That helps provide validity when these guys show their portfolio, shows how good they are. And one of my what do you call wallets, I have a nice portfolio, but I won't say, you know, it's as big of a bag as some people's I've seen out there, just different ones out there. But I prefer to keep it discreet, in my opinion. But I appreciate these channels I'm subscribed to that are intel providers that give good info. And Brian I know he does both stocks. I think Matt does both, has Robinhood as well. Well, I told a good friend of mine, a lot of the top guys not only are invested in cryptocurrencies, they hold stocks as well. Now, I don't hold stocks. I've never purchased any stocks before, but I am cryptos, hard assets that deals with precious metals, gold and silver. Before, I currently don't have any more gold. I had to sold all my gold in the past, but I still do hold silver, which is considered hard assets, tangible assets. By the way, some of these guys are also advanced. They're in the real estate, you know, stuff like that. But it's good to have multiple streams of income. And those are two channels I trust that I highly recommend that put out real good work. And they didn't ask me. This is not clout chasing. This is not an endorsement. I don't know that I have not met either one of them personally. But Brian Jung and Matt, I can't think of his last name. He gives it all the time. But you'll know who I'm talking about if you follow cryptos. By the way, most likely than not. He's pretty popular out there because a lot of the top people follow the top people. And these guys' Patreon, some of their Patreons even become members. I know Brian Jung at times has to announce when he's going to have memberships that are available, because that shows somebody's putting in good work. When you have a stampede of people who are constantly trying to get in or trying to gain memberships, that means they see the knowledge you have. And that's probably something I should have done a long time ago. But, you know, it will come slowly but surely. I had some other obstacles, roadblocks I had to deal with, but I'm also into the redemption education, finishing stuff like that, my studies in that. But when I will let you guys know when I have the infrastructure down the road. I can do better videos. I can hire a graphics artist. I can hire a producer to help me with better editing these videos so I can show you guys evidence of things, more evidence of what I see, stuff like that. But what I described earlier for the title of this video was action-packed information. So I'm going to read the rest of these comments and I'm going to get out of here. Lynn Hopper says, your voice goes out a lot. Okay, hopefully they're not messing with my signal. I did take it off the Bluetooth, by the way. That seemed to interfere whenever I had the Bluetooth connected to the vehicle. So I noticed to troubleshoot earlier, I took that off. I'm gonna check again. So it should be better sound. You guys should hear me clearly. Fabulous XRP says, I appreciate all your information, Dorsey. I appreciate you. Thank you for your input. Well, you all, that's my time. I just wanted to give you guys a weigh in, my opinion about what's happening in the streets out there with the Dirnar/Dong RV/Zimbabwe. The news that I heard recently, allegedly, that people that go to exchange, that call the 800 numbers, to go to the exchange centers, they're saying that they want you to sign an NDA and saying that you will agree to work for 10 years or more if you're within a certain age range. And that's not what I agree with originally, what we signed up 4 years ago when I researched this. This was to help set people financially free so they would have the capital to be able to hire the appropriate people, or people to be able to do the paperwork, the documents that they need. And then instead, this has turned into a nightmare. And as I mentioned, that organization earlier, it did nothing but lie and just deceit, just used trickery and deceit and subterfuge and sabotage people. What I've gone through is just nothing but pure sabotage. So that's why I'm warning you guys. I just wanted to, so you all don't make the same mistakes I did. And at least you guys don't have to go through what I went through. You guys will have a full warning, and just be careful out there. If you come across these people, you would know what to look for, understand how evil they are, by the way, and just, you know, make your appropriate decisions. I did give a disclaimer. So everyone has to make a legal determination of their own affair. But I'm just giving you a suggestion from my experience, what happened with me, you know, so you don't fall into the same traps. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to thumbs up. You can go over and subscribe to my new channel at Dorsey's Resource 873. That's my new channel. I know I haven't done a lot of videos. I did do a live over there not too long ago. But make sure, if you haven't done so, go over and subscribe to my new channel, my new YouTube channel at Dorsey's Resource 873. I'm also on Rumble at Dorsey's Resource. You might have to check the link to some of my older videos over here. Just check the description box and it'll take you to my Rumble account. You may have to scroll several videos back, because remember, guys, this channel is my bigger channel. I can't log into my back office anymore over here. They're blocking me when they took down my smaller channel. It doesn't allow me, but I knew I still have a bigger following, a bigger reach over here. I can reach more people. So that's why I still go live over here periodically or more often. But make sure, so you just be on standby. You know about my newer channel. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I got some action-packed good videos over there. Maybe some more good content coming down the road. Just give me some time. And till next time, the marathon will continue. Real legends never die. They live in our hearts. Till next time, you all, take care. Have a blessed one. Peace.